Good morning, Bimblers. And you join me at an undisclosed location in Newton-le-Willows. Me, my executive producer Molly Gallimore and Mrs Bimble have flitted again. We've moved. We like Sankey, but we didn't like the house. So we found a new house in Newton-le-Willows. So we're moving. So I thought it would be rude if I didn't go and have a look at some of the stuff in Newton-le-Willows, you know, on the high street. Do a bimble here. So let's stop messing about and let's bimble.
Life was left alone in days that felt so long. Being on our own was irresistible. Thoughts kept to myself, shared with someone else, silently replied to most inaudible. Quiet imagination running away with me. Secret conversations between you and me. Sometimes it was nice for a change. Make believe this wasn't so strange. I'm telling you my secrets again. Imagine that you're still here with me. Imagine just how good that could be. I'm telling you my secrets again. I know it's just pretend, but I'm telling you my secrets again.
We've been here before, Bimblers. We came here in the Cameo Dam Bimble many moons ago. But it's quite the focal point here in Newton. It's Willow Park and Newton Lake. If you were planning a visit to Newton-le-Willows to try and spot Mr Bimble, this might be your first port of call if you got off the train at Newton-le-Willows train station. Newton Lake is a man-made lake. There's a couple of streams put together with a dam at the end, and it was the brainchild of a Thomas Lee. He was the MP for Newton between 1814 and 1832. That's when they changed the boundaries and the little pocket borough of Newton was swallowed up by the larger borough. Thomas Lee was from a long line of the Lee family that were all MP for Newton, not necessarily because they were voted for, but because they were the lords of the manor. They had all the money. They always ran with someone else who I imagine did all the legwork. Thomas Lee was heavily involved in the railways. He was an early investor in the Wigan Branch Railway, which is the line that comes off the Manchester to Liverpool Railway, the one designed by George Stephenson, the first intercity railway in the world. He knew that the new station at Newton-le-Willows could be a gold mine. If he could get the Victorians here, cavorting and promenading, he could sell them beverages and sustenance and things from shops. So we had this lake built for him to walk around, but it didn't really work out for him. All the heavy industry here in Newton rather polluted the lake. By the end of the 19th century, it was seen as a little bit of a dump. Not so these days. It's a lovely place to come and walk your dog. We're going to have to bring our Molly here and feed the ducks. Let's bimble. Of course we were going to visit a church, Bimblers. There's loads of churches here in Newton. Too many for us to visit in one day. But don't you worry, I shall be going to them all. This is St Peter's Church. The original parish church for Newton would have been St Oswald's Church over in Winwick. That was mentioned in the Domesday Book of 1086, but the earliest mention of a church here in Newton came in 1284. That's when a posh chap called Sir Robert Bannister was allowed to build a chantry. We learnt all about chantries in the St Helens 2 Bimble. That chantry was basically left to rot up until 1683, and at that point they knocked it down and built a proper chapel. They tried to extend it and make it bigger to fit all the people of Newton in, but eventually in 1882 they decided, should we just build a bigger church? And this is it, St Peter's Church. It was designed by Domain and Briley, that's James Domain and Walter Henry Briley. They had offices in York, but Walter was from here in Newton. St Peter's is built in the arts and crafts style with a definite neo-Norman shape. The outside of it is made from Rainhill sandstone. Do you remember? We went to the quarry in the Rainhill Bimble. And the inside is supposed to be made out of Ormskirk sandstone, much creamier in colour apparently. Just outside of the church is a set of stocks dating back to the 1350s for locking up the drunks from going in all the pubs here in Newton. And don't you worry, Bimblers, I've got my pub crawl all planned out for me and my pals. Let's Bimble. Like I've said, Bimblers, plenty of pubs around here in Newton, and a rather stunning burger bar, which me and my executive producer Molly Gallimore have already sampled last Saturday. Plus there's a new chippy for me to try. But there's also this posh building behind me. That's a restaurant these days, a little bit out of my league. 25 quid for your mains. I hope Mrs Bimble doesn't get any ideas for Valentine's Day. Have I mentioned that I sell merch and you can donate on Ko-fi? It clearly hasn't always been a restaurant, and to be fair, it hasn't always been in this location. It's called Randall's Archway because it would have been operated by John Randalls and Son, but it would have been built in the 1780s, about a mile away from here. It was once the entrance to Haydock Hall. That's the family estate of the Lee family. Remember Thomas Lee, the MP? His lot. In 1840 it was moved here to Newton Town Centre, and it was the entrance to a marketplace. Another one of Thomas Lee's ideas to get those Victorians here to Newton and get them spending. Maybe he should have opened a restaurant. We keep talking about the Lee family as if they're the most famous people from here in Newton-le-Willows, but we know different. Rick Astley's from here in Newton-le-Willows. His childhood home was on this road, Park Road North. Don't you think that Rick Astley should be the lord of the manor? He lived on this road until he was 19, when he took up with Pete Waterman, professionally speaking, and became an international superstar. But there's been more famous people from here in Newton. I think we should go and pick up Longshanks and go back the way we came. Let's Bimble.
You're unaware of all this time we share, and though you're never there, it's unstoppable. Quiet imagination running away with me. Private conversations made secretively. Sometimes it was nice for a change. Make believe this wasn't so strange. I'm telling you my secrets again. Imagine that you're still here with me. Imagine just how good that could be. I'm telling you my secrets again. I know it's just pretend, but I'm telling you my secrets again.
It's not just Rick Astley that was raised on the streets of Newton-le-Willows. You also have Colin Welland. You might remember him as the teacher from Kes. Not the PE teacher, the other one. He also wrote the screenplay for Chariots of Fire. He won an Oscar for that in 1982. You also have Steve Marsh. He played Big Cook in Big Cook and Little Cook. Do you remember that from CBeebies? He also played Zach in Looking for Eric, the Ken Loach film. No statues for those two chaps, or for Rick Astley. But there is a statue for a chap called Norman Harvey. Norman was also born here in Newton, and he would have gone to school at St. Peter's School. Remember, he went to St. Peter's Church. When he left school, he worked at Randall's and Sons. That's the archway that we visited. In 1914, he lied about his age and joined the army to go and fight in the First World War. He would have been 15. When he was 19, he was awarded the Victoria Cross for bravery, for most conspicuous bravery and devotion to duty. When World War II broke out, he joined up again. He joined the Royal Engineers, hence why his statue is made out of spanners and sprockets and stuff. He was actually stationed over in Palestine, or Israel as it would have been then. Let's not get into it. He was killed in action on the 16th of February 1942. He's actually buried over in Israel. Very well deserved statue.